Hello everybody and welcome back to Talk Tuesday and welcome to 2019.
Going up on the Tuesday.
So if you guys remember this time last year, I did a video looking at psychic predictions for 2018 and it was something I have always done actually, but it was the first time I decided to share what I found with you guys, and I didn't know what people would think because not everyone enjoys, you know, even entertaining psychics, but you guys were very open-minded and well-receiving to this, and I thought it was very interesting. Now, of course, with all psychics, normally a lot of the stuff that they say is wrong, so I wanted to look back at these psychic predictions for 2018, you know, see which ones came true, and then also look at predictions for 2019. So let's go back and look at these psychic predictions for 2018. So with these psychics last year, I basically just looked up and found random ones online. So the first psychic predictions that I checked out last year were from Padre. Now let's look at what he said. One thing that he predicted happening in 2018 is discovering the truth about a historical event, that we rewrite history in a certain way. And he specifically mentioned that it could have to do with Egypt or the Sphinx and the pyramids. Now he said that chances are it would have to do with Egypt and the Sphinx, but nothing has happened as far as I know. I know there have been some small discoveries and stuff like that, but nothing major and groundbreaking that is rewriting history, unfortunately. He predicted continued sexual assault scandals in Hollywood, and I have to say, this one is kind of a duh. I think that's not going to stop, and I could have predicted that as well. One very interesting prediction that he made is that there will be some type of explosion on a US ship of some kind. Now, as far as I know, a explosion on a ship or a warship did not happen. And then he predicts that the royal wedding, you know, Meghan Markle to Prince... Who is Meghan Markle marrying? Prince Harry. I think they're planning to get married sometime in the summer, and according to Padre, this will not happen. There will be a cancellation of the wedding, and they'll break up or at least cancel the wedding due to pressure or something like that. This one was the one I was probably most interested in and waiting for, and I just kept thinking, like, I wonder if this guy will be right, because they did have all of these little things coming up before the wedding, like her father couldn't come, there was some like drama about him not walking her down the aisle, and there were some like little things like that where I thought maybe he's right, but he was majorly wrong, because they did walk down the aisle and it was like the talk of the world. He specifically predicted that there will be a crack in the Antarctic shelf. So in July of 2017, there was a huge piece of ice that finally broke off iceberg Larsen C. However, as far as there being a piece breaking off in 2018, I could not find any major stories covering something like that. He also mentions a specific volcano erupting. I believe it's pronounced Volcano Vesuvius, and it has been due to erupt for a really long time. So that's one that we can definitely get a yes or a no on at the end of the year. Nope, this did not erupt. He also sees the people of North Korea starting to organize and rise up against their government. So obviously this one might be happening behind the scenes. However, there wasn't any breaking news about it. Although, like I said, this probably is happening. In fact, I know there are groups that are really getting it going. So, I mean, it could be really spreading faster in 2018. I'm not sure if it did, but as far as any major coverage on it, that was a nope as well. He also predicts the euro crashing. Whether it's a complete crash or a serious drop, he predicts it's going to crash in some way. So back in May and June of this year, the euro was struggling and it was definitely starting to look like it could crash, but it never did. Now for the predictions of Janne May, I hope I'm saying that right. She predicts that in 2018, during the midterm elections, which are coming up next fall, that there will be more Democrats voted in and the Democrats will fill the majority of the seats in the House. The Democrats did in fact win over the House, so she was right about that one. She said that Trump will not be impeached, but sometime during the year, he may become quieter and less seen because of a health issue, that maybe he takes a back seat. Nope, this did not happen. Donald Trump did not have any health issues, at least not publicly announced, and he did not take any steps back. She also says Robert Mueller, who, if you don't know who he is, Robert Mueller is the guy that is running the investigation of Trump's connection with Russia. Not saying that there is one, we have no idea, but that is who is running the investigation. So she said that he will continue the investigation, he will not be fired. Yes, he has not been fired, at least not yet, and not in 2018. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, which are Donald Trump's sons, will be indicted in around April.
And this one is also a big no. Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. did not get indicted.
She said that the topic of UFOs and aliens will continue to have time in the mainstream media.
So this one was interesting. Yes, there has been a lot more talks in the mainstream media. In fact, there was definitely more in 2018. However, like I said, I feel like I could be a psychic because I predict more for 2019 and more in 2020 and going on and on and on. This is only going to continue to get more coverage. It's just the natural flow of things. But just last month, there were pilots flying over Ireland and saw objects in the sky that were flying at supersonic rates, and it was confirmed that no military activity in that area was going on. And there's definitely been more talk about UFOs in the mainstream media in general and possible alien sightings.
And she also brings up the Arctic. She says that in 2018, it will nearly completely melt.
So while yes, there are obviously still huge issues going on with global warming, the Arctic has definitely not completely melted. She also predicted a rise of earthquakes and volcanoes.
She also says there will be a rise in earthquakes and volcanoes in 2018.
Okay, so this is true. There was a rise. In fact, in 2017, there were roughly 12,860 earthquakes, and in 2018, there were roughly 13,810. However, in 2016, there were 14,421. So it doesn't mean like this was some record-breaking year or anything like that. As far as eruptions, there are about 50 to 60 active volcano eruptions per year, and in 2018, there were 77 confirmed eruptions. So there's definitely a bit of a spike in eruptions. So now let's look at some predictions from the psychic twins.
They said that category 4 and 5 hurricanes and typhoons will rise in 2018.
Well, there were no category 5 hurricanes in 2018 actually. However, there was Hurricane Florence, which pretty much ripped apart the Carolinas in September and was super close to a category 5 storm. And then of course there was Hurricane Michael that ripped apart Florida's panhandle back in October. But it seems like these types of storms happen every year. So it seems like anyone could kind of predict them based on the natural patterns of the weather.
They see some massive fires and floods nationwide. Floods will be occurring in California, the Gulf states, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Florida.
Now, obviously, fire was a huge issue in California this year, and there were some of the biggest fires in history. A total of 8,527 fires burned an area of 1,893,913 acres, the largest amount of burned acreage recorded in fire season. And they also did have flooding. Back in early 2018, California did experience flooding due to them being in a drought from the fires that happened in December of 2017.
And also see an infectious disease spreading in the United States, but only in specific areas, not the entire country.
Well, there were definitely increases in cases of E. coli and things like that, some smaller things. There was definitely no major outbreak of any type in the country.
They also see a couple assassination plots being thwarted.
Well, as far as I know, there were not any assassination plots stopped. However, if there was, it's likely we wouldn't hear about it anyway, so it's kind of hard on that one. Then there was Tana Hoy.
So he predicts that in Hollywood there will be more scandals, obviously, but specifically he mentions some pretty kinky things that celebrities might do. He says specifically there will be a famous celebrity who will be exposed for having some, very dark sexual desires.
As far as I'm aware, this has not happened unless there is someone that I'm missing, but as far as a major like A-list celebrity getting caught up in something like that, I didn't hear anything about it.
And he said there will be news to come about Wendy Williams. She's gonna be faced with some type of unexpected situation. She will rise to the top above it all, and she'll become just as famous as Ellen.
Well, earlier this spring, Wendy actually did have to take a 3-week break from her show, Doctor's Orders. Then earlier this month in December, it was announced that Wendy would be taking another break from the show due to health issues. And Wendy said that she injured her arm and that's why she has to take a break. But most recently, as in like really recently, there were reports coming out talking about how there's rumors that Wendy and her husband Kevin are getting a divorce because Kevin cheated on her and got another woman pregnant. Now there's no way to know if that is true, and unless it actually comes out, but we will see on that one. But kind of interesting.
This one is specific. If you didn't know, a lot of people out there have theories that Oprah is gay. Now, if she's gay, it has it doesn't matter at all. But people are curious cats, so there's a lot of internet rumors and stuff that she has a partner named Gail, and the man that she's with, Stedman, is some type of a cover.
This definitely has not happened, and I have to say, I don't think it's true. It's definitely not a theory that I believe, and I don't think it is ever going to happen, but what do I know?
As technology advances, the instruments used to explore space will also advance. Yeah, probably. I mean, that's normally how technology goes. But this is specific. He says that in the future, scientists are going to discover 3 new planets in our own solar system. He says that these are going to be behind the sun and that we haven't been able to see them. He also says that one of these planets will be as big as Earth. He also said that 2018 is going to be the year of having babies, that people will have really easy time getting pregnant, that a lot of people who struggle with infertility or are trying to get pregnant will have luck. So if you're out there and you're trying, and if you're not trying, use protection, because apparently the forces are strong this year. He also said that 2018 will be known as the year of rainbows, as many people will finally come to accept themselves for who they truly are. When it comes to UFOs and aliens, he said there will be several UFO sightings around the world, which I could have predicted that because they happen around the world all the time. But he says that several of them will be clearly caught.
No, we did not find a new planet hiding behind the sun. But within the last several years, scientists have been discussing the possibility of there being another planet beyond Neptune that has been hiding out due to us not finding its orbit. However, it's not been confirmed, but they've been calling it a dwarf planet. It's pink and it's called Far Out. But it wasn't hiding behind the sun.
He also says that this year we will find a cure for a few major diseases: HIV, certain forms of cancer, diabetes, and heart disease.
No, sadly, we have not found cures for any of these diseases, unfortunately.
He also said that 2018 is going to be the year of having babies, that people will have really easy time getting pregnant, that a lot of people who struggle with infertility or are trying to get pregnant will have luck.
Now, this is kind of hard to say. Leave in the comments if maybe you got pregnant this year, but as far as research that I have seen, it sounds like pregnancy rates are actually on the decline. Then there's Jemima Packington, the asparagus psychic, who is one of my favorites. She claims to predict the future by looking at asparagus. That is right, folks, actual asparagus tells her the future. So let's see how accurate they were.
A record number of royal births.
On April 23rd, Duchess of Cambridge Catherine gave birth to her 3rd child with husband William by her side. And then in October, Meghan Markle and Harry announced that they were expecting a child. However, it won't arrive until 2019. So that one, unfortunately, is not true.
Theresa May will be ousted and Britain will get a new prime minister.
Although Theresa May has definitely said that she is not planning to run in the future, she still is in her position and has not been removed or has resigned in any form. So now that we have looked at some of the predictions from 2018, let's look at the future for 2019 and what we can expect from a couple different psychics. I went to a couple of the ones from last year and also threw in a couple of new ones for you guys. Here are the predictions from Padre. He predicts that global warming will get worse in the upcoming years. Well, I'm pretty sure everyone's predicting that. But he does say that a lot of countries will acknowledge that this will be important for our survival to take it seriously and start to take more serious action, which is good. He says that India will play a prominent role in trying to change their lifestyle of its people and make it more environmentally friendly. It has already started the work attempting to educate people in the population with small practices that, if done together, can make a huge difference. China will also play a role in reacting to this problem with a proper plan. He says people will eventually wake up when it comes to these issues about our climate and our planet and take it more seriously. He said we will start with smaller things, but compared to previous years, it will be huge steps and lead us to a brighter future down the road, which sounds really good, and I hope that is true. He also says that the truth about Donald Trump will eventually emerge and become known, and I'm not sure exactly what truth he's referring to, but he says despite this, he will not be persecuted for his alleged misconducts. There might be legal action against him, but he will not be impeached, and he will continue on as president. However, he does say that the attention that Trump has been receiving from the media and from his supporters will will kind of dwindle a little bit over time. And he says you can expect less controversial remarks from Donald Trump. Ice caps around the world will start melting, resulting in absurd water levels, flooding, and many more issues. This will only get worse in the year to come. Water shortage will appear as one of the most disturbing problems, with many countries struggling to keep up with their water demands. That some of the volcanic eruptions will burst in the years to come. Now let's look at Tana Hoy's predictions for 2019. He says that there will be a passing of a famous celebrity, a actress, and her sudden death will be a shock to many fans. However, she will pass peacefully, so that's interesting. He also predicts that another boy band will hit the scene and take America by storm. He says that their career will only last a few years, but it will be a hot one. He also says that the political situation in the US will become a major embarrassment to us in the future. However, I am pretty sure this is already happening now. He says that criminal charges will not be filed against the president in any way once allegations come forward, but the USA will lose a lot of respect that we have earned over years and years and years. He also says that Iran will begin releasing a wave of drugs into the USA as a punishment for the sanctions that the US placed on them. And this is going to cause the loss of many lives, so let's hope that one's not true. He says that Japan will make a major mark in technology, which doesn't shock me as they always are. They will be announcing a new breakthrough discovery regarding robots, which I can definitely see happening. So that'll be one to look out for. He says that there will be a major medical breakthrough regarding a type of mold and fungus, and it will actually be discovered that it has healing properties, and that these could possibly actually lead to healing certain cancers. He also claims that a new galaxy will be discovered, and he says scientists will be more public about talking about UFOs and aliens and the idea of extraterrestrial life beyond our galaxy. Another thing that he predicts is that there will be talk about the use of robotic police officers, which to me is absolutely terrifying. Apparently, the American Medical Association might change its tune and begin to claim that salt is not bad for you, and begin telling you that maybe salt is okay. And apparently a new type of exercise will become popular in the upcoming year. And it will be something that was popular back in the 1930s that will be kind of reawoken. He also says, and this is very specific, which I really do appreciate psychics making ballsy predictions. He says that in the first 6 months of 2019, couples will be more likely to conceive a boy, not receive. I guess it's kind of the same thing. And in the second half, they will be more likely to conceive a girl. He says that the Midwest of the country will be very negatively impacted by weather patterns, especially Indiana. So that's also very specific and something we can look out for next year. He says Australia is going to be blessed with some of the best weather patterns that they have seen in a very long time. So good news for our Aussie friends. But he does say Japan will be hit by another major weather occurrence. He says that relations between the US and China are going to worsen in 2019. Now let's look at Janne May. She says no impeachment seen ahead in 2019 when it comes to Donald Trump. She says to watch out for the president's close relationship with the disgraced Blackwater founder Eric Prince, brother to Betsy DeVos, the education secretary. And she also sees us heading towards a recession in 2019. But this is interesting. She does see something stopping the Mueller investigation in 2019. And she says climate change will continue to get worse, but as we all know, that is pretty obvious. Now let's look at a psychic named Betsy Lewis, and here are her predictions. She says that there is no Democrat that can defeat Donald Trump, and he will be re-elected in 2020. She said more people will continue to leave the White House in his administration and traitors, and that cycle will continue. She says to watch out for someone close to Trump that may be considered a traitor in the future. When it comes to Russia and Ukraine, there will be a huge buildup of tension by Russia on the Ukraine border. She says that it looks like a big confrontation there in the coming months, and blood will follow. I foresee something terrible happening in Syria with Russia. She says Oprah Winfrey will not run for president in 2020. Joe Biden might run for president in 2020, but according to her, he will not be elected. Tesla Motors may go bankrupt. If you own stock, she says to get out as fast as you can. But on the other hand, SpaceX will do very well, and they will end up eventually launching humans into space and onto Mars. But she does say there are tough times ahead for Elon Musk in 2019, and we should all keep an eye eye on his mental state. She also claims that 2019 we will unfortunately see a lot of really bad shootings in the United States. She also believes another planet, such as Planet X, will be seen and discovered in our solar system. She also says in her visions for 2019, she sees another year of floods on the East Coast, southern US, and a heavy snow year for the West Coast and East Coast and parts of Canada. She sees, like most of these psychics and like most scientists, extreme weather for the whole planet. She sees UFO sightings and recordings on the rise. She sees strange earth holes opening, like holes in the earth, random places. This one's very interesting. She claims that scientists will discover a gene that causes multiple sclerosis. She says it won't be a cure, but it could stop the progression and help millions of people. Now this one's really specific and interesting as well. She also says Pope Francis may decide to resign in 2019. And this is also specific. She says the film First Man will win Best Picture at the Oscars in 2019. Now this next psychic is known as Niki, or Psychic Niki. So I kind of narrowed down the most interesting ones, and I'm going to be going through them pretty quick here. As far as world predictions, she predicts that the White House will be under attack. There will be a giant sinkhole in Las Vegas, Nevada. New Orleans will be underwater. A dam will break in California and there will be a lot of damage. A spaceship will land in a desert area. There will be an attack or a shooting at an NHL game. There will be an arrest made in the Natalie Wood case, which is very, very interesting. And she also says there will be an arrest made in the Madeleine McCann case, which is also fascinating, and I hope these things are true. This one's very interesting. She predicts penguins invading cities, and she also sees a famous New York City jewelry store being robbed, a terrorist attack in Central Park, New York City, a celebrity couple overdosing, an elephant killing a trainer, a tragedy in Wichita, Kansas, sharks surrounding a cruise ship, and an elevator accident in the Empire State Building, a bull escaping its pen and killing people, a shark will kill a movie star, somebody will be hit by lightning at a Trump golf course, a famous male politician will come out as female, a giant earthquake in Costa Rica, a commercial airliner will have a hole in it, but a pilot will land it safely. A politician will strip naked on live TV. Now these are some of the most ballsy predictions I've ever heard. A plane crashing from California to Hawaii. A baseball player will kill a person by hitting the ball into the stands. Apple and Samsung will merge. There will be a resignation around the Vatican, including the Pope. And that was not the first person to say that, so that's pretty interesting. A casino in Las Vegas will be robbed. Prince Charles will have to watch his health. And there will be a break-in in Mar-a-Lago. Now she also has a lot of celebrity predictions, so here are some of them. Britney Spears will have a car accident. Celine Dion will have a health scare. Johnny Depp will overdose and end up in rehab. James Corden will open up karaoke bars across the US. There will be a marriage for Whoopi Goldberg and hip surgery. Now I have to say, I happen to be Whoopi Goldberg's biggest fan, like no fucking joke. She is my person. If there was one person in the world I could meet, it would be Whoopi Goldberg. Like I love the bitch. And I'm telling you right now, there's no way that she's gonna get married. She's very anti-marriage, and I don't see that happening in a million years. She does also see marriage for Oprah, a Morgan Freeman hospital stay, a baby Bieber for Justin and Hailey Bieber. Michelle Obama will have an acting role in a movie. Elon Musk will have to watch his health and well-being. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West will split. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi may renew their wedding vows, but then will split. OJ Simpson will be in more trouble, back in jail, and has to watch his health. And Jay-Z and Beyonce will split. So those were very specific. Now finally I have predictions from Craig Hamilton Parker. In 2019 he sees escalating conflict with Russia. He sees more troops being posted in Israel. He says Trump will get ill and one of his family members will get in a car accident. He sees that all the attempts to get Trump out of office will fail, and he in fact will be reelected in 2020. Now it's interesting, none of these psychics predict anything bad happening for Donald Trump. He says Trump will promote Rudy Giuliani to high office. He says that NASA will announce a moon base project, which would be very interesting. He said that they will begin drilling and digging for rare earth metals on the moon. The debt bubble will burst in China and they will plunge into a recession and people will have to take to the streets in a riot. There will be a devastating earthquake in Nepal. He does see that Kim Jong-un will strike a deal with Trump, but the North Korean people will eventually revolt against their leader. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Obviously not all these predictions are true. If any of them, we're not sure. It's gonna have to be one of those things where we just see next year, but I have to say it was pretty disappointing to see the look back this year at pretty much nothing. Like nothing was true. So I'm curious for next year, but I wouldn't take these predictions too seriously, as I think it's kind of hard to predict what's going to happen, and that might be part of the mystery of life. But some of these were very interesting and I'm curious to see how everything will shake out. So leave me a comment, tell me what you thought was most interesting about the predictions for 2019 and maybe some of your own predictions. And I do predict that you guys will make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications on so you don't miss any of my content in 2019. But that's it for me today, guys. I hope you're having a great day and I will see you next time.